My name is Elliot Simcoe, and I am going to school to become an English teacher. Today, I am going to tell you about scaffolding for writing that can help students focus on the content and the task at hand rather than the composition skills. So, scaffolding can reduce energy that students spend on generating text so that they can focus on the task at hand. One reason I began to implement this scaffold in my classroom is because when I asked students a question about the content without any prior prompting, without any prior asking about it, all I got were blank stares. So I started implementing sentence starters. Sentence starters provide the main meat of the sentence while leaving blank, while leaving a space for students to fill in their opinions and their conclusions. Here's an example that speaks to the situation I was just talking about. Here's a sentence starter. I feel blank when the teacher asks us a question without prior prompting. I feel this way. So this is an opinion. A more content specific example is this. One way that character A is different from character B is that while character A does this, character B does this, or they are this. So these sentence starters alleviate students' generative labor, the compositional labor, so that they can focus on other skills such as comprehending content, observing, and making conclusions. So while first we can allow students to focus on the content, we don't want to always give them these sentence starters. We want to release that confinement, release that handicap, or release that scaffold so that it doesn't become a handicap, because we want students to be able to write sentences on their own. So when the teacher is ready for students to practice writing skills, she can employ the gradual release of responsibility model. May be familiar, but I'll restate. This model shows beginning with teacher responsibility. So in this example, it is um giving the supports, giving the scaffolding. But as students grasp the content, they can begin focusing on the compositional skills. So when you gradually release it, students build content and compositional skills. First, you do it together, so that includes the scaffold from the teacher, and then you build to doing it alone so that students can stand by themselves. I'm gonna pause my recording here because for some reason my one picture stopped showing up. All right, now it looks like I fixed my picture for the second scaffold. So the second scaffold I present here that can help reduce generative labor is one that you can use for longer texts, for longer things you want students to write. It is the graphic organizer. So my picture here is an example of a graphic organizer that I created so that students could write an artist statement. It's an accompanying piece to one of their projects. So the graphic organizer should include all the requirements that you have for this piece of writing. It should prompt students to all the requirements. Ways that it reduces the generative labor is that you can include sentence starters. This sparks the idea generation. You can also provide questions within it that can spark student answers. And these graphic organizers actually help students bridge the gap between just their brainstorm and then the draft, because this provides a format and organization for their writing. And then once students feel more comfortable moving from the brainstorm to the graphic or to the draft, then you can phase out the graphic organizer. So once again, the sentence starters and the graphic organizers are two scaffolds that you can use. So you can first focus on the content, on student expression, and then you can gradually release to students completing the full composition by themselves. Thank you for listening today. Again, my name is Elliot Simcoe. You can contact me at my email. It goes like this: EOSIMCOE@gmail.com. And may you be at peace. May you have a good day.